I'm Stumpy Nubs, and I'm not a gambler. In fact, I haven't even been to Las Vegas, although I have heard good things about their buffets. But as any woodworker knows, taking risks in the workshop, not a great idea. The chances aren't great that I'm going to cut off my thumbs, but I'm still going to use a push stick. It's the same with dust. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to kill me. I do know people who have developed severe health problems from sawdust exposure. I also know people who say it's much ado about nothing, which kind of surprises me. I mean, who says ado anymore? The way I see it, you have two choices. You can listen to the naysayers, roll the dice, and hope you don't have to pay for it 20 years down the road. Or you can take the safe bet and put some thought and investment into good dust collection. The former carries the risk of respiratory illness, maybe even cancer. With the latter option, you risk what? Clean shop? Now, I know dust collection can be expensive, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Can't tell you how much money I've wasted trying to save money. So we're setting up a special section of our website to help you avoid the mistakes that we made. You can get there directly by going to shopdustcollection.com. There'll be tips on different types of equipment, how to make some of it yourself, and other ways to save money so you can still afford to actually make some sawdust to collect. Today, we're going to talk about upgrading an ambient filtration system. These things are really important, especially if you don't have a powerful dust collector that captures all that dust at the source. That fine dust is the dangerous stuff, and there are several units commercially available under different brand names that will do a nice job at collecting it. You can also make your own and save a bundle, which we'll show you in a future video. Today, though, I don't want to talk about particular brands. I want to talk about how you can increase the efficiency of what you already have or might be planning on buying or building yourself, and how to lower the maintenance costs. You see, the biggest expense associated with ambient air filtration systems after the initial purchase are the replacement filters. These things cost $25, $30 even more, and they get dirty fast. These filters don't have a lot of surface area either, and as the dust begins to accumulate, the airflow through the filters becomes restricted. You may have spent money on a system that's rated for your shop size, but get some dust in that filter and it's no longer able to move anywhere close to the amount of air it says it will on the box. The only way to keep it working properly is to change the filters often, but like I said, that gets really expensive fast. So that got me thinking, what if I attach one of those big filters that I use on my Cyclone dust collector to my ambient air filtration system? Those things have a massive amount of surface area, so they'll let a lot more air through to begin with, and it'll be nearly forever before they plug up. And the best thing is, you can clean them many, many, many times so you don't have to replace them. I figured one of those filters could save me a lot of money long term and give me the peace of mind that my system was always working at peak efficiency. So I got in touch with the company that makes my Cyclone filters, which is Win Environmental. It turns out that they have been experimenting with that idea and had it all figured out already. So let me show you what they came up with. Just about every commercially made ambient air filtration system, which we're going to call AFS from here on out because that's just too many words, comes with a pre-filter and a post-filter of some kind. Both of them restrict your airflow as they come from the manufacturer, but we'll deal with the pre-filter later. The post-filter is what we intend to replace with one of those big cartridges. And that's just a simple matter of attaching it to the AFS. Well, maybe it's not that simple. We will have to make some modifications. But before you do anything, you have to decide how you want your filter to be positioned in relation to the AFS. The easiest and most efficient way is to mount it directly in line with the system's exhaust. You just bolt that sucker on. But maybe you don't have the room for that. Maybe you want your filter pointing to the side or down a wall like I did mine. Maybe you want the filter to be in a location that makes it easier to remove when it comes time to clean it. You do have some flexibility here if you duct your system to the filter. You should keep in mind that any ductwork will have a small effect on your system's efficiency because it restricts your airflow. This isn't a huge problem because we're going to be gaining so much more efficiency with our other modifications. The only reason I even mention it is because if you have a big shop and a tiny filtration system that's already struggling to keep up, you may want to mount the filter directly to the unit so you can squeeze as much power out of it as you can rather than ducting it for convenience. Now, we've produced a downloadable guide with step-by-step instructions for both ducted and ductless options for you to download from our website. But here's a quick overview so you know what you're going to be dealing with. For a ducted system, you're going to need a 12 by 6 by 6 register boot, a length of 6-inch dryer duct, a 6-inch hose clamp, a 6-inch starter collar, a 6-inch pipe connector, some sheet metal screws, some weather stripping, a bit of plywood, some caulk, and a pair of 10-inch discs cut from wood or plastic. I cut mine out of some thin plastic. You also need some adhesive and some duct tape. All of that should be less than $50. The biggest expense will be the filter. We're using a Win 9L300 nano filter, which provides a massive 300 square feet of surface space, and it's rated at MERV 15, which means it will filter out bacteria, let alone dust. This is way better than any AFS replacement filter that you might get for your unit. And it costs about 5 times as much. Of course, you're only going to be buying this thing once. It'll last for many years. So in the long run, you're going to save a bundle. First, we have to adapt the square grill on our AFS to our round duct. We do this with a piece of plywood cut to the size of our grill, plus a 1-inch border all the way around. We'll cut a hole in the center of the plywood to fit our register boot, which is secured inside the cutout with screws and sealed with caulk or tape. This assembly has to be mounted to the AFS, but you may find some screw heads in the way. Mark their location and use a drill to create a recess for each one so the plywood will lay flat against it. Attach some weather strip around the perimeter to create a seal. Then use some sheet metal screws to attach the plywood over the grill. Now, cut 2 10-inch discs from wood or from plastic like I did. One of these gets attached to the flangeless end of your filter with adhesive or tape. The other gets a hole cut to fit your 6-inch collar. Secure your collar with adhesive, and then secure the disc to the filter with adhesive or tape. After everything is dry, it's time to think about where you want to mount everything. A lot of people hang their AFS system from the ceiling right in the center of their shop, directly over their workbench or their table saw. That's not the best idea. For one thing, it's going to pull all that fine dust right up past your face while you work, which kind of defeats the purpose. It's better to install it along a wall, somewhere far enough away from the end of your shop that it's not going to restrict airflow in the corner. This will help the air to cycle through the entire space. And keep in mind that you'll probably want to remove the filter to clean it, so mount your whole system in a place that's easy to get at. Simple wire is sufficient to hang the filter from the ceiling. If you're mounting it to a wall, use a pair of shelf brackets under the base or something to support that filter, and then wire or screw or bungee strap, just do something to secure it to the wall. Once the AFS and the filter are mounted, all that's left to do is connect them with a piece of 6-inch aluminum dryer duct. You'll need a 6-inch coupling to attach the duct to the boot on your AFS unit. On the filter end, you'll attach the duct with a hose clamp for easy removal when it comes time to clean your filter. Now that covers your post filter. What about the pre-filter? These aren't nearly as expensive, but they are small. There's not a lot of surface area here for air to pass through, so your system's only as efficient as your pre-filter. You can double the surface area of your pre-filter just by taping 2 together in a triangle shape like this one. This has to be big enough to fit into the opening on the end of your AFS, and you'll have to use some cardboard triangles on the side to seal it all up. But this is easy to attach to your unit. It really improves the efficiency, and you can buy inexpensive filters from either your local hardware store or Win sells them in like a 6-pack. As long as they're wide enough to fit your AFS, they're going to work just fine. In fact, don't buy expensive HEPA filters or anything like that. You want to let as much air through as possible, and it really only has to catch the big stuff like cat hair or that chisel you threw across the shop at the wall when you got angry. Now, like I said, we made a step-by-step guide that you can download and print out from our website, shopdustcollection.com. You'll also find answers to frequently asked questions concerning this project. In our next video, we're going to show you how to make a meter to monitor the efficiency of your ambient air filter or your dust collector so that you know when it's time to clean those filters. See you then.